Hey, what's going on, guys? Chopper 200 coming to y'all with a Banlist prediction. So, I wanted to talk about a few things. I want to talk about, I want to key in on a couple skills and a couple cards that I think will highly see chances of being hit after the KC Cup, since we don't have a Banlist yet. Pretty sure that we will have a Banlist by the end of the KC Cup. Sometime after that, after things blow over, after Konami has enough time to kind of see, what decks are prospering and which ones just seem really broken for the current meta. So I definitely want to key on some aspects of that, and maybe this video can help give. Hopefully, if this video reach to the right eyes, and it'd be seen by the right people, maybe we can actually get them to hit certain things that well, I personally think that should be hit from what I've experienced on the ladder. So definitely, I want to talk to you guys about these key things. So as you guys see on the screen, I have three key skills, like the three first skills that I already seen that needs to be nerfed. These three skills are probably going to be the most prominent skills that are going to be used for decks that are going to get first place global, I think. You're definitely going to see these skills used a lot in the KC Cup in the next couple days, so definitely look out for these. I definitely think at least one of these skills are going to be hit on the ban list. Hopefully, hopefully all three of them will get hit for the next ban list, but we will have to see. I do think Konami definitely, on average, nerfs about 2 to 3 skills each ban list. So this is about the right amount of skills that I've picked. There's a couple other ones I'd want nerfed, but these are the ones I want to focus on and things I think will be most likely be on the next ban list. And I also will talk about cards as well after this. But yeah, let's get started. Alright, so we're on the Sealed Tombs. Sealed Tombs is the primary one I think is going to be hit, and I think deserves it as well. So, the thing with Sealed Tombs is there's a lot of decks now that we have in the meta that utilize the graveyard, and then the fact that your opponent can start turn 1 and literally keep you from doing nothing on the first turn after they do their play, and then they activate Sealed Tombs to slow you down. It puts you at a complete disadvantage without even making a play, and you can't really do too much that turn, and then your opponent a lot of the times will just come out and have either just a really big field advantage, too much to handle, or they just OTK you the next turn because you couldn't do anything due to a first turn Sealed Tombs. So, the skill originally reads, until the end of your opponent's next turn, neither you nor the opponent can special summon monsters from the graveyard. This skill can only be used once per duel. The nerf I think they're going to do to it, the nerf I think they're going to do is going to be something like, so I added a caveat to this. Can be used when your life points decrease by 1,000. So I don't know what they're going to do to Sealed Tombs, but this is just a basic, this is just a basic change to kind of make Sealed Tombs a little bit more, you have to put in a little bit more cost to use the skill rather than you're just using it whenever you freely want to. So, I added a life point cost, so you're going to have to at least cyclone something and then use it on your second turn. Or you're going to have to activate something that costs life points. Maybe you run Dark Lords with Sealed Tombs, do your thing, pay some life points, and then activate Sealed Tombs. But you got to pay some type of cost to be able to activate Sealed Tombs on your turn. So I think that's an important thing. And who knows, maybe Konami could do something like, you may need 5 different Gravekeepers in your deck. Maybe it may just be made for Gravekeepers, but something to make it to where you can't just freely use it on your turn. You have to do some type of cost. And maybe if you're worried about Dark Lords using Sealed Tombs, maybe they should add something like Gravekeep, maybe they should add a little bit more specific cost for it, like, have 5 different Gravekeepers in your deck before you could use this skill, So that's the only caveat I added on top of this. Definitely think Sealed Tombs need some type of nerf to make it to where they can't just freely use it. And yeah, on to the second skill, Sorceries Conduit. Now I've been playing on the ladder, and I have been getting OTK'd due to just either Canadia, Floodgate, or Molehue flip face down, end phase, cyclone, goes into Purgatrio for an OTK, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't set cards, you can't do anything. You know, maybe if you have a cyclone, but if they chain to that and you have a back row, you know, maybe you could stop it. But you know, it's very like, you know, you need this very specific hand to beat hand advantages like that. Or if you finally have an advantage and your opponent goes Sorceries Conduit out for just the 1000 life points, you get OTK'd. So that's a really big problem with the Invoke deck. That's why it's still top tier, because Sorceries Conduit breaks the deck. You know, it's Draw Sense Invoker. It is just disgusting how much they abuse the skill. That's their main win con, is the skill, due to just drawing an Alistair, going into Purgatrio or Cositis, or you know, people are still going back to playing Concentrating Current over Mesolantica now because they know about this advantage. So the original skill reads, can be used each time your life points decrease by 1000. In the draw phase, instead of conducting your normal draw a random spellcaster type monster. So like I was saying earlier, for those who didn't know, you know, Alistair is a spell card. I mean, is a spellcaster type. So if you just cyclone one good time on your opponent's turn, end phase, you use the skill effect, you draw into your Alistair. Most of the times they either go for an OTK or very hard to beat field with you probably have very little life points due to Purgatrio. And yeah, the skill revision I'm adding is now the skill will read, can be used each time your life points decrease by 1500 in the draw phase. Instead of conducting your normal draw a random spellcaster type monster. So this is kind of an arbitrary number. You know, it could be 15, 18, 2k. You know, it could be any of those, or it could just be, you know, or they could completely rewrite it to, I don't know. Since it's a skill mainly used by Yugi, you know, you may need a Dark Magician monster. You know, you may need to run Dark Magician in your deck, or you may need to, or you can only draw a Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. Who knows? But, you know, I think just making it to where it takes more than 1000 would definitely help against this skill, because people, you know, you won't get OTK'd as bad. You know, even if they cyclone, they're gonna have to, you know, they're still gonna have to conduct a normal draw. They're gonna either have to cyclone, they're gonna have to take some more damage, or they're gonna have to convert to Mirror Wall. They're gonna have to do something like Mirror Wall. You know, Mirror Wall could do the same thing, get Sorceries Conduit, but you know, it takes them losing 2000 life points in order to do that. And if you cyclone the Mirror Wall, they still won't get it. Compared to if you cyclone, they could change their cyclone to you and they can still get the skill out. So I think it's a lot better than just 1000 point decrease. So it does, you know, it does get past that threshold of just using cyclone, search Alistair, go for OTK. So definitely, that skill definitely needs nerf. Invokers just completely abuse it. Unacceptable. Alright, third and final one that I think is also abused is compensation. So I know a lot of y'all really can't stand the whole compensation Dark Lord thing that's been going on, due to the other reason is you're trying to get them below 1000, but you can't because of compensation. Always getting them above 1000, or the endless refilling of the deck due to compensation, and then adding the card right that they compensated back to hand by sacrificing 1000, getting 300, getting that same card back, and then they keep recycling due to compensation, allowing them to do it over and over and over again. So I think Konami will go into the direction of, well, let me read this first for you. So the skill currently reads, can be used each time your life points decreases by 1000. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard and recover 300 life points. So the revision I think Konami is going to change would be, can be used each time your life points decreases by 1000. Send the card on top of your deck to the graveyard and recover 300 life points. The same effect. The caveat to this one is this skill can only be used once per turn. So I think compensation would be less abusable if you can only use it once per turn, which means no matter how much life points you lose, you can only use the skill once per turn, which will definitely slow them down on doing whatever they can do. And if they get a bad mill, then it really hurts them. So I think, you know, it keeps them from abusing the skill as much. I won't say completely will get rid of, but it will definitely reduce the chances of them starting really good with compensation and profiting a lot due to compensation and the endless refilling of the dex combo. So you know, you're not gonna really face that endless combo as brutal as if they were playing compensation, because they were not going to be ditching as much as they would want to with compensation. So that hard once per turn would definitely slow them down on their plays. But yeah, those are the 3 top skills I think Konami will probably nerf. But yeah. So now we're gonna head down to the card portion. So, oops, sorry. I'm using OBS, so gotta bear with me. I'm doing like a little paint format because I made it all in paint and all. So I'm trying to make it to where I can be able to scroll. I couldn't be able to really figure out OBS feature to where you could be able to scroll. Maybe one of y'all could tell me down below on how to get a good, because I tried window capture, it didn't work for paint. But all right, so these are the 4 cards. These are the 4 cards that I think are going to be the top priority cards that are going to be targeted for the ban list as well, because I've seen them been used a lot in the meta. Every time I've been on the ladder, I've just seen them as pulling out some really broken plays. So I could definitely see them being a highlight of the KC Cup, being the highlight cards of the KC Cup that can be hit, and I think will be targeted mainly. And cards that I think just due to their ease of access, that they could be easily hit without really ramifications financially for the company. So I think Konami will definitely go for this. But the first card, and I think a lot of y'all will agree, the grass is greener. Due to the recent, I wouldn't even say recent, due to the arrival of 30 card Shiranuis, grass is greener has never been more broken. You know, grass with this deck has literally changed the meta to where now you're seeing people running 30 card variants of decks you normally wouldn't see. Milling, like just activating grass pretty much makes it to where your opponent is just already at a disadvantage due to all the resources that you gain from grass is greener. You know, playing it with the trap card, what was it, Spiral Whirl Flame? Sorry if I'm messing this up, but the new Spiral Whirl Flame trap card, the you know, milling Spectral Sword, milling Gazuki, the special summon by banishing either Spirit Master, a Squire, or a Solitaire, to be able to pull off a whole bunch of plays in one turn, to where you know, you already had a really big, you know, you already have a huge field advantage just by using one card, and it's insane. So I could definitely see this card getting hit. Also, you know, it's supposed, like, I think this card's a hit just kind of for future usage, because, you know, for future decks that can abuse this card. Also, it's going to also be good to hit this card as well. It's a free to play card. You can get it from the card trader. So it's not going to hurt, you know, it's not going to hurt the company's pockets if they go after this card. I think it's going to be good semi-limited. I don't think it has to be at 1. I think having cards like grass be at 2 is going to be good. So you have these grass stacks like Shiranui mainly, to where they can't sit there and run Kite Roid, Clash, and things like that. So it'll also be beneficial, so they can't run semi-limited cards. So yeah, definitely would be a good hit. And on grass decks that could use semi-limited cards in the future. So it definitely, you know, so it could definitely make it to where people could be able to go back and play their 20 card decks again without worrying about grass decks such as Shiranui, to where they first turn grass to spell specialist, because that was the main skill that they do run, a spell specialist. So they have a high chance of joining into the grass looks greener. So, you know, this does keep a lot of people from playing 30 card decks and go back to the 20 decks. They don't have to worry about countering the grass looks greener decks. Second card I think is going to be mainly targeted is Shiranui's Spectral Sword. What I've seen on the ladder as well is Spectral Sword at 3. When you mill 3 of this card, it is so hard to get past a lot of that, because The next turn, when they're able to use it, they could use all 3 of them in the graveyard if they wanted to. They mill, you know, let's say they, like I said, greener in the spectral sword. They mill all 3 of them. You know, you're having to try to face all 3 of them, and it is not, you know, it is not an easy duel to win. And it is just like sometimes you just, depending on your hand, you just absolutely lose, because unless you OTK on that turn, you know, God forbid that they don't have Kite Roared. You know, they don't have Kite Roared or anything in their graveyard or in their hand. You know, they could just come back with Spectral Sword, and you know, Spectral Sword in Solitaire is just a free level 8, which really gets dirty, because then they could go for OTK, and things just get really bad at that point. So, you know, Spectral Sword is really broken, that whole graveyard usage. I think this definitely needs to be at 2. I think this also limits grass decks from what they can use as well. You know, they can't play Kite Roy, they can't play Econ, they can't play Clash, etc., etc. You know, 2. So, you know, if you get past the first 2, you have a better advantage of taking the deck on. I think it slows them down to the point where you can take them on, to where other decks can take them on. You know, they're not going to be absolutely absurd with, like I said, 3 Spectral Sword, because I know a lot of Sharanuyis are playing more at the tuners now, because they know they can abuse their effects a lot more often, especially with the grass build. So yeah, definitely deserve to be at a 2. So on to the next card, Sharanui Spirit Master. I also think deserves to be at a 2. But let me say this as well. I think they're gonna hit. I don't think they're gonna hit both of them. You know, Sharanui is still fairly new, so I wouldn't. You know, I'm not expecting them to see both of them. But this is a card that, you know, if they don't hit Spectral Sword, I think they will be coming at the Spirit Master, since they both are rares, not SRs. This will allow people to go after the SRs in the box. You know, spend more money, go into the box. You know, because SRs are worth going into a box and spending money on compared to rares. So Spirit Master is a rare, so I definitely see this card being more prioritized over the SRs, over getting hit. So yeah. But yeah, Spirit Master as well, though. I also think Spirit Master's, like I said, Spirit Master is going to be targeted due to its main popping effect. Mainly because its popping effect is special summoning. Isn't too bad to get over, but its popping effect in the graveyard is probably one of the hardest things to get over. It is a hard once per turn though, but the fact that you make it to where, you know, you grass, go into Spirit Master, you know, you mill Spirit Master, or you have the Whirl Flame trap card in your graveyard and your opponent summons, and all you have to do is activate Whirl Flame, banish. You know, Spirit Master, you pop the monster that they just summoned. Now they can't make a move. You got Spectral Sword in the graveyard, and now you can just pop off and go for OTK, which just leaves your opponent at a major disadvantage. And this is what I was saying with the grass as well. But I could definitely see them hitting Spirit Master as well due to plays like that. You know, you're trying to make a play, but you can't even keep a monster on the field due to Spirit Master continuously popping. So reducing the chances of your opponent either milling or having the card in their hand greatly helps balance, you know, the matchups against this deck. Makes it a little bit easier to take them on. They're not completely getting blown out by the deck, you know. So that is also another card. That's probably most reason enough that I think that Spirit Master will also get targeted. You know, they're, like I said, Solitaire and Squire are also pretty insane cards, but you know, they're SRs, and I think they're on the same tier of broken as Spirit Master. So you know, I think, you know, from Konami's standpoint, they might go for the rares before they go to the SRs if they can help it. So that's why Spirit Master is probably prioritized over the other SRs on the list. Definitely will get a look at. But like I said, I'm not gonna guarantee that they're gonna hit both of these cards. They don't have to. I think hitting one of them would just be enough to hit Sharanui. They just need to get hit on one card, and I think we should be good. Hopefully in addition to grass, so we could be able to go back to playing 20 cards without having to worry too much about grass looks greener decks. But on to our last card, and I know a lot of y'all are mad about Dark Magician now since they got Dark Magic Circle. Well, here's the solution to that deck. Magician's Rod. If they hit this card to 2, the deck will see a slight decrease in consistency due to them not being able to play 3. They don't play Econ. They can't play Tretch, which is a good thing. Really good that they can't play Tretch. So, you know, they can't. I think I've seen a couple Dark Magician players play Cotroid before. So they can't play any semi-limited cards as well with Magician's Rod, as well as it reduces a Magician's Rod in their deck. So like I said, it definitely will reduce the consistency of them drawing into a circle navigation into a Dark Magician in their starting, in their starting hand or in their starting turn. I think this is, Magician's Rod can be obtained in the card trader, which makes it easy accessible, which is another reason why they could hit this card. It's an SR, another reason why they could hit this card. I definitely see him going after Magician's Rod to slow down the Dark Magician decks and their turn one in their good turn one. So like I said, these are the 4 main cards that I think Konami's probably going to target, and mostly I think just after observing the KC Cup, I think these cards are going to be the prime cards that are really going to create these combos, and that they're going to notice when it comes to a lot of these games, and top tier decks going against each other. I think this is going to be the top cards they're going to notice in play that that are really going to win these guys their games and are going to create some really broken combos that just they're gonna be like, well, wow, we didn't even notice that. We need to hit this card immediately, or we're gonna add this on the ban list. And it's crazy that we could actually hit this card, and it doesn't have to be an SR in the box or anything like that, and it should be able to balance some of these decks out. Some more than others. But yeah, definitely tell me what you guys think down below. What cards also did you want to get hit? What skills you guys want to get hit? Have any disagreements? Tell me why. I normally do reply back if you definitely want to reply. We could definitely talk about it. I love conversation about these things. I think these are really good conversations to be had. But yeah, hit y'all up on the next one. Chopper 200 signing out.